Predator.
Could almost check your tonsils. Do you still have your tonsils?
No, I had mine out. I don't think I was in double digits yet. I was young. And dude, after my tonsils, man, I carried around my tonsils in a jar probably for a whole year after they came out. I was so proud of those things, man.
I still got mine, hey?
You still got yours?
Yeah, I had one of those like old school doctors that were like, they're there for a reason. So if they don't give you problems, don't take them out. So I was like, yeah.
Can't argue with that logic, sure. But I would imagine sometimes certain throat-based flus probably be quite aggressive with you.
Yeah, it's possible.
Hmm.
Onto more topic. We talking about movies and series and stuff?
Intro. USA.
Movies and series and stuff. Yeah, dude. So I suppose we can just do an update. I was worried about talking about this because this is a weird thing that's been happening.
Why?
I've been working a hell of a lot, which we already know. So I'm not going to go on
Why?
about that. But yeah, dude. So I haven't watched that much. I've been watching a lot of reruns. What a
Why?
dick.
Sorry.
It's okay.
This could be one of those videos. Why?
But yeah, so I've been watching a lot of series and stuff. Reruns of South Park. So yeah, dude, and it's
That's
funny.
never time, or what's the word I'm trying to, or the phrase I'm trying to look for? That's always time well spent, in my opinion, because some of those South Park episodes are just, you can rewatch them. They're almost timeless. Even if you go back to like season 1 and 2, some of those episodes are still bang on and classic.
Yeah, so that's what I'm realizing. So I've seen stuff that I have seen before, but I'm seeing like stuff that I've totally missed, and I'm like, how did I miss this? And I might have mentioned it to you. Like one that really sticks out recently is like, yo, dude, they really went for a low blow. It's an episode on the school shootings, and basically like
I haven't seen one actually. Hey?
I'll try check the season for you, but you gotta watch it. It's like so intense. I don't know if I should spoil it that much, but basically they play.
Spoiler alert for the audience. People who maybe haven't seen it, I don't know.
I think it's season 22, an episode around there, but yeah, dude. So it's like basically they play out the scenario where they're in school and there's like literally a school shooting every time you see them in school. It's like this normal occurrence, and everyone's just so placid. It's like it's another school shooting, and I think it's Stan's mom, and she's freaking out, and it's so horrible, dude. I mean, you know, South Park's evil, so. They play out this whole thing that she's overreacting and it's her time of the month, and then they like push it even further where they think she's going through menopause because she's the only one reacting to these school shootings and how serious it is.
Right, as would be.
And exactly, but she's the only one, dude. So it plays out this thing. She tries to have an epic speech, and everyone's like, you know, like they start feeling sorry for the husband. They're like, yo, you're going through a really rough time with her. And eventually you're laughing your ass off. And then it just escalates, dude. And out of nowhere, like she gets beaten so hard by the crowd, not physically, but like just emotionally and stuff, that eventually she goes up to, what's his name? I always get the characters mixed up.
Randy, the father.
Yeah, Randy. And she's like, I'm so sorry. I've been overreacting. And he's like, because he's like so amazed that she's like apologizing. Literally in that moment, she gets a call and she's like, yeah, she just found out Stan got shot. And he freaks out for a second. He's like, should we go? What should we do? And she's like, no, it's okay. Nothing to worry about. And the episode ends. And you're just like, what? What just happened?
Wow.
It's so heavy, dude.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's like, South Park are really good at that, like social commentary thing on current events and how people really are acting, and it definitely isn't being taken serious enough.
I agree with you 100%, man. And on that note, I don't know what the solution is, because Do you restrict people from getting access to firearms? Do you put in more strict gun control, or you know?
It feels like just
I don't know.
generally it's a bad idea to sell a gun to a kid. And look, I know that's a bad joke because they're getting hold of their parents as weapons.
Correct. Dude, I look at like a country like ours where you hear stories that people can go into the heart of the city, talk to the right back alley person, pick yourself up an AK-47 with a fully loaded clip for a couple $100. That kind of, yeah.
Sure.
And yet we don't really hear about school shootings here. If black market firearms are so easily accessible. I mean, when I look about it, the house robbings, the hijackings and stuff we have here, the majority of them are with firearms. So
Yeah.
if that's so accessible and readily available to the criminal element here, it hasn't filtered into the schools. So what is it that it's a particular thing that keeps hitting American schools? I don't know.
Yeah, it is a strange one, man. I don't want to dive too deep into that. It's going to depress us. But yeah, and the last thing that I just watched is, I don't know if you know this, dude, but they've been releasing Rick and Morty weekly now. So there's new episodes.
Yes.
And I've been watching those. Kira and I always dig that. And yeah, I mean, that's just,
Some of them have been very good.
yeah, dude. And I think the most recent one was where they, Morty does that thing where he goes back and changes the moment and changes the moment. And
It's that whole thing around, like, kind of not Inception, but the Prestige. It's like, this is not a time travel movie, Morty. It's the Prestige. I was like, what? That was dark.
yeah, and yeah, so dude, that's pretty much all I've watched. So, so what you been watching?
The one thing that caught me by surprise, I didn't even know it was on that platform, but it's probably, yeah, I'm weird. I'm a TV addict and I cycle through various things. So I've got Amazon Prime, I've got Showmax, I've got Netflix. I think the majority of the time I'm either on Netflix or YouTube for different reasons. YouTube for more content around things that we're interested in. Netflix around general movies and series. And then every now and again I jump to Prime or Showmax. And on Showmax I found the new Deadly Class series that's based on the Rick Remender comic books.
It's Image also, eh?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the basic premise there is it's this like kind of an assassin school where they find these kids in their teens or younger, homeless or whatever the case is. They take them into the school and it's like survival of the fittest, man. Full on Deadly Class. You get where the name's coming from, and this new guy's coming in, has to find his feet. They've got factions, like they've got the white supremacist kids hanging out together. They've got the Latino kids hanging out together. The Chinese Yakuza kids hanging out together, and they're either coming, like their parents are in the Yakuza, and the kids are being sent to the school for training and schooling, or the Latino guys, they're in the various drug cartels, or at least their parents are, and this is their first step of education as an entry point in. So very, very different, dude. And it's got that Benedict Wong. He actually played the character Wong in the Doctor Strange movies.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's like the main teacher / I think possibly headmaster. He's very, very good. The actors they've got, I really enjoyed. Cinematography, you'd love, dude. It's amazing and intriguing cinematography. Just in the first 2 episodes, and again, I don't know if it's necessarily director specific. Like with most series, you sometimes get an overarching director, and then every now and again a guest director will do certain episodes. So I don't know if that's going to change episodically, but so far, bang on. Soundtrack would blow your mind, dude. Rock your world.
Cool, I'll definitely check it out.
Grungy, rocky, that kind of soundtrack to it. I think you would really dig it. There's some cool references. At one stage, these 2 guys in a car, and they start arguing over the greatest comic of all time, eventually settling on the Dark Phoenix saga. So that was quite cool. Nice there to see that stuff. But yeah, and these kids are damaged. in their various ways and manipulative and everything. So it's if you think high school that we went to was quite tough, wait. So I recommend it to people if they've read the Rick Remender comic. I haven't myself, but it's on my to get list. But if the comic's anything like this series, it's I'm excited to try and pick that up. Really enjoying it.
Nice.
What else did I get to do? I got to maybe let me talk about the one that I got that was kind of like a downer for me. I've been really looking forward to watching and excited about watching the new Tarantino film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, it's also kind of been on my must get to list.
It's on Netflix now, and I think it's there for lockdown reasons, isolation, new release, attract the people, put it in their top 10 recommenders, whatever. Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say, coming out of it, probably my least favorite Tarantino film to date.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was surprising because it was so critically acclaimed. It was so, just everywhere you looked, people were praising it for what it was. And maybe if I compartmentalize some of it. So for me, I thought the performances from DiCaprio and Brad Pitt were brilliant. DiCaprio is playing this sort of midlife actor, past his prime potentially, very neurotic, very, diva-ish in a way, and DiCaprio does a great job of it, dude. These scenes where he's all neurotic, and then other scenes where he uses that neuroses and he just brings it to certain scenes in the movie when he's on a set and whatever. And that, I was like, wow, DiCaprio, well done. Brad Pitt is just, he's phenomenal. For me, he just steals the movie, in my opinion. He was fantastic. Margot Robbie was, and I'm honest, dude, she was playing this real-life character, actress who never really, I don't even know if she got too famous in Hollywood, Sharon Tate. I don't know too much about it. But she was just meh. And the whole way through the movie, I was like, what purpose does this character that she's playing fill? Because right up to the end of the movie, again, Tarantino, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but he's kind of trying to like lead you this way. He's exposing you to these characters. He's developing things. And then this ending happens, and it was like, okay, and? That's how I walked away from that. And at times he uses a narration. So there's Kurt Russell's in it, a minor role. And at times I eventually figured out that Kurt Russell's narrating the story at certain points, but it wasn't consistent. You know, if you're going to use a narrator, for me, let the narrator open the movie, set a scene for you. The movie's called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so let him start like once upon and start, set a scene, show visuals while the narrator narrates. Then at certain key moments when it's needed, let the narrator come back.
Yeah.
He doesn't, in my opinion, use the narrator well or effectively. It's almost like, shit, I don't have time to tell this part, so I'll just do a voiceover to kind of bridge a gap for me. It felt disjointed. There's a scene with Bruce Lee, and the actor who plays Bruce Lee I thought was very good. He's got the way Bruce Lee spoke and the way he pronounced things and set up his sentences. He had that down pat 100%. Wow. But the scene with Bruce Lee was disappointing for me. They almost imply like that this one stuntman just kicks the shit out of Bruce Lee. And I'm going, this is Bruce Lee. People would regard the modern godfather of mixed martial arts fighting, and really. So going back to Joe Rogan and referencing one of our previous videos, they spoke about it too, and Rogan was saying, don't think it was accurate, but Rogan knows the stunt guy that they believe Brad Pitt's character was based on.
Okay.
And Rogan was saying this guy was a tank, he was a beast, and if they had to fight, traditional fight, this guy was just so much bigger, and so and Rogan uses the words, he's a gorilla. He said if he got hold of Bruce Lee, game over, because this guy was also trained in jiu-jitsu and judo. Okay. So he said if he got hold of Bruce Lee, he would have taken him to ground and tied him up.
Yeah.
And what Rogan was saying was when Bruce Lee worked with this guy on the Green Hornet TV show, the guy exposed this to Bruce Lee, and that's what also got Bruce Lee started down the, what I know from my Kung Fu isn't enough. Teach me ground stuff, so that if I go to ground, I have the skill. So it was interesting, and I just felt that the way that Tarantino portrayed it didn't give a lot of credit to the master that Bruce Lee was. For me, just personal preference. But overall, just underwhelming and disjointed. It had moments where I was like, that's fucking cool, that's awesome, that's Tarantino. But overall, I just walked away from the movie. I didn't get the point. I don't know, maybe as a period piece, showing you a part of Hollywood, California in a certain era, maybe he nailed that. I'm not from Hollywood, California, so I don't know. So maybe there's a lot that was lost on me. And then another one that I watched, again, was on Showmax, that surprised me, came out of left field, was Detective Pikatu.
Okay, haven't seen that.
I literally watched it last night, dude. I mean, you know I'm a Pokemon fan. Have been for a while. I got into Pokemon from playing the Nintendo Game Boy games when it was still like monochrome screen, pixelated, going on, catching my Pokemon. And then it became the trading card game where you would buy packs of cards and different Pokemon had different abilities. And the whole model was basically based on Magic the Gathering's battling system there, where you had these characters, the characters could tap into energies, and if they had enough energies, they could perform certain attacks or battles. And then you would be encouraged to buy not just one Pikachu, but multiple different versions of Pikachus, because they would have different attacks. Some of them were designed, or the card was set up for different strategies and that. So, and it's still going today, just like Magic's going. I don't even know what series they're on now, but the same model still applies. And I've got to say, the way they represented the Pokemon in the movie, the CGI, the everything, but just the way they did them, I thought it was spot on, bang on. The Ryan Reynolds is the voice of Pikachu, and if you know anything about them, it's like you can't understand Pokemon. They speak, most of them speak by just repeating their name in various ways. But for some reason, Reynolds can speak, and the main character can understand Reynolds, and no one else can. And they explain all of that, how that happened, etc. Some of my favorite Pokemon ever were all represented in the movie in various ways, and I was happy with all the representations. Surprisingly good story. There were those, again, parts of it where I had suspicions. Some of those suspicions came to fruition. One or two twists as well. So I was like, overall, enjoyable.
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. Like, I'm keen to give it a watch now. When I saw the trailer, I was like, you know, you can give Reynolds anything, and it's amazing. But that was the first time I started doubting, and I was like, have they pushed him too far? Like, come on, man. So now I'm keen. I'm keen to check it out.
What's nice for me? What's nice is they're not reliant on him to carry the story through. So there's this guy character, he meets a girl character, they have quite a nice dynamic between them that works. He's falling into that sort of Reynolds role where every now and again he has a little chirp here, a little chirp there. Stuff's happening, and while stuff's happening, you just hear this Reynolds voice sort of on the side making a comment on this or on that, and it works for that kind of.
Okay, cool.
It's not Deadpool funny, i.e., I think they were really conscious of their audience.
Yeah, definitely.
And so there's some things where you could imagine in a different setting, in a different whatever, he probably would have gone a bit more hardcore with the comedy, but I enjoyed it. It was just a nice, fun, enjoyable movie, and I felt that the way they did it, you didn't have to know too much about Pokemon. You didn't have to. They kind of set the scene to say this is a world where these little monster creatures live, and we've learned to live with them, and in some cases use them, work with them, whatever it is. Some of them bond to you and become like your buddy, and then they're your buddy for life, kind of. And they set that scene, so you're like, Okay, cool. Let's go forward now. So, yeah, maybe check it out. Fun one, good one for the family, I think. Highly, highly enjoyable. And I don't know what else I can say on that. So, if you liked what Mark and I were talking about here, or just like our content in general,
Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification for more videos.
and yeah, do us a favor and find us on the social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram.
See you in the next video.